Well, howdy, and thanks for tuning in to this week's episode of Dakota Cowboy, presented by Dakota Community Bank and Trust. I'm Wild Bill. I'm the media director right here at the North Dakota Cowboy Hall of Fame in historic Medora. Thank you so much for watching. There's a lot of things that you could be doing right now on a Sunday evening, but here you are watching our television show. I so greatly appreciate that. In fact, I appreciate it so much, I just might buy you a dilly bar next time I see you at the ice cream store. Seriously, I'd like you to get your tickets for East Greets West. That's coming up this Friday night at the Valley City Eagles Club. It's our annual fundraiser, and we'll feature a social, a dinner, a lively auction, and our guest speaker is Jeff Gould telling America's story. Get your tickets now at northDakotaCowboy.org. We have a very special Dakota Cowboy for you this week. The MHA Nation recently welcomed Tisa into the dugout for one of the most amazing experiences of her life. It unfolded into what you will see on today's Dakota Cowboy, which we all get to witness. It was dawn on a hot summer North Dakota evening at the North Dakota State Fair as she witnessed the Indian relay races at the State Fair. It was the second ever Indian relay race that took place at the fairgrounds. And Tisa's got a great story about that coming up on today's Dakota Cowboy. We'll also have our North Dakota Cowboy Hall of Fame Hall of Honoree inductee of the week. This week it's Thor Naden, inducted in 2022 in the category of pre-1940s ranching. And of course, we have this week's Dakota Cowboy Student Rodeo Athlete of the Week. So sit back, relax, call up the neighbors and tell them to turn on Beck TV, because Dakota Cowboy started about 2 minutes ago here on Beck TV, presented by Dakota Community Bank and Trust. We're back in just a jiffy.
Hello and welcome to the MHA Interpretive Center. It's the perfect stop along the Lewis and Clark Trail and the cultural hub of the Mandan, Hidatsa, and Arikara Nation. Nestled along the shores of Lake Sagagawea in Newtown, North Dakota, 1 mile west of the Four Bears Casino. You can enjoy amphitheater performances, art exhibitions, and educational workshops utilizing our Living Cultural Center. Enjoy some coffee, browse our gift shop, and learn about the original people of this land. Learn more at mhanation.com/interpretive center.
Stop out to our facility, Highway 22 South. Let us build a truck for you.
Unique gifts, an assortment of beautiful jewelry, and much more can be found at Dakota Territory Jewelry and Gifts in Medora. Montana silver necklaces and earrings, Black Hills gold and sterling silver jewelry, many Native American made pieces too, and a selection of art pieces. They carry healthy products made right here in North Dakota, and to satisfy your sweet tooth, fall in love with the best fudge around and the freshest taffy made right in the store. Buy it by the pound in a variety of flavors. Dakota Territory Jewelry and Gifts in historic Medora. Wild Bill here for Steffensen Sellinger Chiropractic of Dickinson. Recently, I tore my meniscus, and after an MRI, doctors gave me 3 options: prescription meds, reoccurring injections, or surgery, which wasn't guaranteed to rid me of the pain. Then someone suggested I try soft wave therapy. Steffensen Sellinger Chiropractic of Dickinson are skilled in this innovative treatment. After a few treatments, my pain went from an 8 down to a 1. See if soft wave therapy is right for you. Contact Steffensen Sellinger Chiropractic today.
At the Set Motors, we understand how difficult it can be finding your next new vehicle.
You don't have to worry about paying premiums or market adjustments, as we are focused on building loyal long-term customers.
Let us help you ease the purchase experience by walking you through the order process. Configure your next new vehicle your way with price protection.
Need financing? We also work with several banks to get you the best rate available.
At the Set Motors, we value your business. Let us show you how.
Hey y'all, it's Trent on the loose. I'm a 6th generation farmer, husband, patriot, father. And as much as I'd love to just sit here under this shade tree and celebrate my own place on my front porch, truth of the matter is that people don't know who, where, and how is producing their food. So travel the country with Trent on the loose, and we'll find those interesting human interest stories behind the people that bring us the efficient food supply. Trent on the Loose.
Welcome back to Dakota Cowboy, presented by Dakota Community Bank and Trust. Recently, I had the opportunity to visit the Indian relay races sponsored by the MHA Nation at the North Dakota State Fair. The thrilling, majestic, and cultural event led me on a journey to find out the history and the stories of the people that make the Indian relay races happen. We visited with Richard Longfeather of Longfeather Racing at the Standing Rock Nation, a fluent Lakota speaker and manager of an Indian relay race team. We also saw Haley Vegan from Mandaree, North Dakota, and Stephen Brewer Jr. of Pine Ridge, South Dakota. Right now, I'd like to take you back to the Indian relay races at the State Fair, where you can witness the sights, the sounds, the people, and the horses that bring this to life.
2 hours before dusk on a sweltering hot North Dakota summer evening, the grandstands at the North Dakota State Fair were packed. Spectators, fans, and family members were all there, despite the heat, to take in the sights and sounds of Indian relay racing. It would only be the second appearance of the Mandan, Hidatsa, and Arikara MHA Indian relay racing in Minot. However, everyone there would be witnessing history in the making, as the first ever women's Indian relay race made its debut at the fairgrounds. As the event got underway, ceremonial drums and vocals by native musicians began as dancers clothed in traditional regalia took the stage. The beat vibrated through the fairgrounds. Excitement filled the air, and the majestic culture of the MHA Nation was on display for thousands of spectators to see as riders and their horses made their way to the track. Relay teams consist of multiple horses, a rider, a mugger, and a catcher. The riders must make clean horse exchanges each time around the track and do it the fastest to be named champion. However, one could say champions exist on every level of this exhilarating sport, from each member of the team, to the family that supports them and gets them to the races, to the caretakers and trainers of the horses, to the horses themselves. Preparation doesn't just happen during a season. It takes a lifelong commitment to the horses, crafting the skills needed, developing the endurance, and providing the right care to create and nurture a team to the track. It means early mornings, late nights, and traveling hundreds of miles to compete. This is a competition that is not for the faint of heart. Historically, native horses were used to hunt bison or buffalo. They were so well trained that they not only watched the buffalo to avoid collision, but also kept a sharp lookout for holes and bad footing on the prairie. A horse was trained for the chase by riding alongside of and into herds of running buffalo. Rubbing the horse with buffalo hides would accustom it to the smell of the animals. Relay racing has always been present.
I'm with Longfeather Racing, and we are talking about the history of when you started the Indian relay races.
Okay.
We know horses have always been a part of your soul and your heart, and your family's soul and heart. How can you tell me how it started and how it's evolved with your family, Richard?
Sure. I mean, and to share myself of the life and times of the Indian relay / the suicide races. I started with my dad and my mom. They weren't my biological parents, they were my aunt and uncle. I was raised by my grandparents, and when my grandfather left me in 1968. My grandma left me in 1972. I was 9 years old, and I went back to my biological parents, and it was like they were my foster parents at the time. But I had to go home.
It's a little bit foreign.
Yes. I went home, and one of my uncles and my aunt at that time was really close to my grandparents also. My grandmother was his dad's sister, and she always shared. She said, "This one of my grandsons that I really, I raised him," and she said, "I always want the family to look out for him." He came to my parents' house, and I was still a lost soul, 9 years old, missed my grandma, and he pulled in, and my mom, I said, "Where's your mom and dad?" I said, "They're inside." He wanted me to go get them. So, you know, we talked our language. Even as a little boy, everybody knew I spoke Lakota all when I was growing up. So he talked to me and he asked me where my mom and dad were. I told him, "Timaya Kapelo, they're inside." So I ran in and get him. Mom comes out, and Mom and my uncle at the time, they met and said, "Yeah, Hankashi, letakuwichukit. I want to ask you something, cousin." Said, "Mom always wanted me to look out for
Cousin.
yeah, my cousin's son, and I want to know if I can I use him to help me with my horses?" And I was like, I lit up. I went from sad, losing my grandma, and to geez, when I heard horses, it was like, man, there you go, you know. And he took me, and the first day we went home, and you know, I didn't even have boots, and he was kind of more always dressed in cowboy and tack and ready to rope, and you know, we went for a 20-mile ride from Liligo. One of his friends had steers in Bullhead, South Dakota, which is across prairie. You're looking at 15, maybe. I don't know exactly the miles, but we went through the Sitting Bull Monument, and man, it was just an adventurous trip for me. I rode bareback, and I led a horse. He had 4 horses. He rode one, led one, I led one, and he said, "Do you want to use it?" He wanted me to use a saddle, but you know, I was so happy, and I was born on wagon team horses, and I had the balance as a 9-year-old. Man, it was just an awesome day. Just hotter than heck, but man, I was in my glory. And I rode, and he roped all after. It was late in the afternoon we got there. And they roped all till it got dark. There was no light, arena lights, just a big arena with a lot of steers. So we roped, and some of the guys offered to. He didn't have a trailer. He had one of these stock racks. And I said, "Nah." He said, he's called me son already. Then me and my son, we love riding. We rode home in the dark, and that 15-mile in the dark was even an awesomest night ride, you know.
Isn't it crazy how those horses will lead you in the dark?
Yes.
They know home.
Yes, yes. You know, there's so much things that you're inspired from you asking me that question, because it relates to all the connections, finding even the wild horses that I rode at night. You know, if my uncle would have had a better job just to share this, if he had the money to sponsor me to a rodeo, I would have been up here on bronc riding, saddle bronc, bareback. So what I mastered, learning from my uncle, my dad, was that learning, that darkness of riding. It goes back for many years of our ancestors, how they rode in dark, how they knew what the horse. You just felt how the movement of an animal. And you know, after a while, when my uncle dad took me on this ride, after that I said, "Dad, you know, what else can I do?" He'll bring in horses that people wanted to train, and he'll get me in there and just say, "Hookah." That's all he said. "Go for it."
Hookah.
Hookah. Help yourself to anyone. Man, that was my glory with horses like this. And I took heart, and you know, as a young man, I literally, if you ever watched the movie, and that book inspired me when I was in grade school, in 4th or 5th grade, called, I can't remember, it was this native, you know, back in the reservation days. It was a Tom Black, if you look it up. I had that admiring that kid that grew up the way I did almost, but here on Standing Rock, that's how I grew up. You know, I grew up just riding day and night. McLaughlin, Bullhead, well, you know, wherever direction. It was just a hop, skip ride.
It healed your heart, it saved your heart, it made your heart, and now you're sharing it with the world?
What transpired from a history of hunting, Pony Express horse exchanges, along with suicide races, was skill, brevity, horsemanship, and the courage to run as fast as possible. That came to life at the North Dakota State Fair this summer as the announcer called the first teams to the track, and the race on.
We want it right. This is the part of racing that is critical to start. The exchange. It looks like we're just about ready to go. Starters are happy.
When we come back, you'll meet more of the Indian relay racers, including a female racer, Miss Haley Vegan of Mandaree, North Dakota, and Stephen Brewer Jr. of Pine Ridge, South Dakota. We will get a first-hand look at the cultures and traditions they hold dear to their heart. That's coming up on Dakota Cowboy, brought to you by Dakota Community Bank and Trust.
Sitting by the fireplace doing nothing is still doing something.
Share the memories with a new fireplace from Keller Hearth and Home and Heat and Glow. No one builds a better fire.
From sleek to modern design, we sell warmth, comfort, beauty, and relaxation.
Find the right style for your life, along with smart control options.
With over 50 burning models on display.
Visit our showroom today, Keller Hearth and Home and Heat and Glow, on the Strip Mandan and North Dickinson, where every day is a home show.
Hi, my name is Jeff Gould. I have a story called America's Story. I'm going to be doing it Valley City on October 20th. It's the East Greets West North Dakota Cowboy Hall of Fame fundraiser, and I hope you can make it. It's going to be a great time.
We'll begin at 5 p.m. on October 20th with a social dinner and a lively auction right after Jeff Gould presents America's Story. Tickets available now at NorthDakotaCowboy.org. East Greets West with the North Dakota Cowboy Hall of Fame, October 20th at the Valley City, North Dakota Eagles Club.
Nick Bolton here with the latest from Bell & Howell. We call them tack glasses. Inspired by the sunglasses worn by our heroes in uniform, tack glasses block blinding glare so well, invisible objects suddenly become visible. Enhance colors to give you vision as sharp as an eagle's and survive even the harshest conditions. Look, ordinary sunglasses just make things darker, which could be deadly in a tactical situation. Tack glasses improve optical clarity so you can see clearly, even in low light. If you've never seen how this light filtering technology works, check this out. Nothing to see, right? But look again as we hold up our tack glasses. A colorful American eagle is revealed. Amazing!
Act now to get your tack glasses for just $19.99, and we'll even ship it to you free. So don't delay. Order yours today.
To order, call 1-800-288-9503. That's 1-800-288-9503, or order online at trytackglasses.com. 1-800-288-9503.
Securian Financial Advisors of North Dakota is now Lux Wealth Advisors. In our current climate, planning for retirement can be scary. Let the experienced advisors at Lux Wealth Advisors take the worry out of wealth planning. Lux Wealth Advisors can work with anyone, from those looking to invest their first dollar to those transitioning into retirement. Let Lux Wealth Advisors be your guide. Lux Wealth Advisors, new name, same great service.
Hello and welcome to the MHA Interpretive Center. It's the perfect stop along the Lewis and Clark Trail and the cultural hub of the Mandan, Hidatsa, and Arikara Nation. Nestled along the shores of Lake Sagaguia in Newtown, North Dakota, 1 mile west of the Four Bears Casino. You can enjoy amphitheater performances, art exhibitions, and educational workshops utilizing our Living Cultural Center. Enjoy some coffee, browse our gift shop, and learn about the original people of this land. Learn more at mhanation.com/interpretive center.
Welcome back to Dakota Cowboy, presented by Dakota Community Bank and Trust. Let's get back to the Indian relay races, sponsored by the MHA Nation at the North Dakota State Fair.
Each race winner led to another heat of championship rounds. The skillful dismounts and mounts, practiced through a rider physically and mentally, were executed with perfection and aiming for perfection amongst each team. I used to go on trail rides with all these kids. They wanted to be a part of it, so we started getting the team built, and now we have been racing together for about 8 years, said William Brewer of the Dancing Warriors relay race team. A lot of the horses we buy off the track, they are thoroughbreds. We bring them home and we work with them and get them going in practice at our local track. Haley Vegan and her sister Jessie Vegan are part of North Dakota's leading ladies when it comes to women's Indian relay racing.
How did you even get started in relay racing? I mean, it's a brave event.
Oh, wow. So I started with the maiden race at my first qualifier. I was 14 years old, and I went to Billings and I qualified for the Champions of Champions. And then the next year follows, and then they had the first ever women's relay, so we went to that. And it's kind of bad, but we brought our saddle horses, and we tried it out against everyone. We didn't do too bad, so we just stuck with it. So yeah, we've been doing it ever since.
So you grew up riding saddle horses?
Yep.
But you were riding bareback too as a kid, right? Or not
yeah,
really?
I was riding. Actually, I started riding bareback in races during the Ultimate Warrior Challenge. It's like these challenges we have on the reservation that showcase our athletic ability. So for the women, they have a runner, and then they have a canoeer, and then a horseback rider. The horseback rider rides usually from 9 to 12 miles on 3 different horses bareback in a race.
Incredible.
Mm-hmm.
And you've competed in that?
Yeah.
So you and your sister both are on a team. What do you do to condition for this? Is it just riding those 9 miles a week or whatever your program is, or are you working out, everything else that?
You know what? We work out year round. We try to keep in shape. We watch our weight, obviously. And
You're jockeys.
Yeah. And for our horses, we run them like 2 miles, sometimes like do hill work, intervals. We blow them out once a week on a track, a practice track we have.
Yeah, build up their lung capacity and all that. So that comes down to, I mean, when you're in a race, there's also that eye-to-eye heart. What do you notice about your horses or certain horses that are like winners? What's the quality you look for or notice?
I like that fire in a horse's eyes. Like, I don't care if they're a little bit uncontrollable or if they don't want to slow down when I'm coming in. I just want them to be able to go.
And you can feel that?
Yeah, I can feel it. You can feel it. You know it when you bridle them up, they're ready to go right then.
So, here's a trick question. Mares or geldings, which do you prefer?
I've always preferred geldings, but lately I got a gray mare. She hasn't let me down since, and she's run her heart out for me ever since. She won us the season opener this year for Horse Nation, so
that's incredible.
I'm trying to lean towards mares.
You're talking to the right person. All I have is mares. That is perfect. So how about the feed program during the year and then like leading into racing season? Does it adjust?
Yeah, definitely adjust. So on their off season, we like to drop their calorie intake because right now their feed is about 2 buckets worth. Okay. I would say it's a lot of feed. This
so
with
you
every
drop
different
it in race season.
No, for our off season.
Okay.
But then we increase during race season a lot.
A lot more oats and supplements and stuff. I'm sure you're doing all that. So now your sister's out on the track. She's probably, I don't know, getting her horse to know the track. You guys get to these races a day or 2 ahead just to settle in?
Yeah.
Tell us about your reasoning there.
We bring them up like early just to give them some rest time to get them, see if they're swelling anything from the trip, because we can travel from 2 to 18 hours just to go to a relay race, and we want them to be most comfortable and ready to run.
What do you think about, so you're doing this and it's exciting and it's brave and everything, but it brings you back to your culture and your family that's at these races. Can you talk about that community?
Yeah, for sure. So where I come from, we're like the Mandan, Hidatsa, Rikra people, and our tribe is known horsemen. Like, we have champions all the way around, from team ropers to bronc riders to go all the way around. So I guess it's just deep rooted in our whole community. Like, our whole family just gets excited. Horses bring us all together and stand us right beside each other, backing each other. So
the Vegan sisters and their teammates, Kenzie Robertson and Cecilia Robertson, not only took home the North Dakota Championship at the North Dakota State Fair, but have captured the hearts of roaring crowds here in North Dakota and beyond. The Dancing Warriors of Pine Ridge, South Dakota emerged through the racetrack in grandstands, crossing the finish line in the championship round of the men's Indian Relay at the North Dakota State Fair for first place prize money and championship buckles. The Dancing Warriors lineup is led by William Brewer. The rest of the team consists of Caden Bringsplenty, Harley Brewer, Davis Yellowbull, and Holden Holiday, all of Pine Ridge, South Dakota. During the race, Brewer said that the horses all did well. Everything just kind of fell into place. The exchanges all went good, especially with all the activity and excitement. It worked out, added Brewer.
I'm here with Stephen Brewer at the North Dakota State Fair Indian Relay Race Day, and you are from Selfridge, or where'd you say?
South Dakota, from Pine Ridge.
Pine Ridge, South Dakota. Stephen, what do you look forward to coming to these Indian Relay races?
Just to have fun and represent our tribe, and most part just have fun. We do it to have fun.
And it's really a family event. I see you have everybody helping you here.
Yep.
How many people in your family came today?
There's maybe about 10 of us that came today.
Holy cow.
So we're running a men's relay and a women's relay team, so.
Both the male and female?
Yep.
Perfect. Okay. So how long have you been racing?
I've been racing personally for maybe since I was 11 years old. I'm 24 now. So.
Holy cow. Well over a decade.
Yep.
So in those years of racing, what have you learned?
So you got to be consistent with your team, and you got to just have fun for the most part. If you try to go and win every time, it never come together. But if you have fun, it's
a rhythm.
Well worth it. Yep.
It's a rhythm with the team.
Yep.
So what are you doing? I know you said you couldn't get here till about an hour ago. You were working back at the ranch. When you have these horses at the ranch, are they cowboying or are you conditioning them in a different way?
We do both. We usually try to switch them up. We don't try to make them stay on one schedule. We try to keep their mind running and do different things with them, so they ain't just set on, when we go on a track, I'm doing this and get too fired up. So we try to switch it up there, what they do.
Excellent strategy.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. So besides being a cowboy and an Indian relay racer, what other things do you do in Pine Ridge?
We run an association for the youth, Sage the Saddle, and it involves horses too.
Really?
Yep.
Well, I didn't even know that. I learned something new today.
Yeah, but Sage the Saddle here, it's a non-profit organization.
Awesome. We'll have to look that up.
Yep.
Well, Stephen, this is your second trip to the North Dakota State Fair, and they've welcomed back Indian relay races like in full force. I know those stands are going to be full. What was it like last year?
It was hectic because of how big the stands are. The crowd was really loud, and then it'll get the horses pumped up. So
So did they fire harder or did they make some mistakes?
Yeah, they fired more harder.
He knew we were talking about him, or he's missing his friends. So this particular horse, you drew me over here. You said, this is a beast, this is a good one. Tell me about this one.
This is our first horse. He's a proud cut, so he acts like a stud.
Gotcha.
But he's our first horse, and he runs tough every time.
Does he?
Yeah,
he's just tough.
Yeah.
Did he come off the track?
Yep, they all came off the track, all of the horses.
That's good to know. All these relay races are track horses. You've probably recovered them, or they were healthy and you're keeping them going.
Yeah, we run gate races and Indian relay, so when we're not Indian relay, we're usually gate racing everywhere else.
Gotcha. So MVP of the team, is that you, or is it the whole team?
Just the whole team. We all work together and we all make everything happen. And you can never be a champion by yourself. It's a team event, so you gotta have to have the chemistry with your team. If you don't have the chemistry with your team, you have tough luck.
I'll tell you what, those are wise words from Mr. Stephen Brewer. Chemistry of the team, and it takes a team.
Sharing how they use horses and their native languages of Lakota and Dakota to communicate. Longfeather believes the Lakota and Dakota Sioux tribes have experienced the gift and power of horses throughout life as far back as they can remember. The language and spirit of our culture brings us a natural ability to make songs, said Longfeather.
Lakota ke o leon ko pelo hai shuka wa kha ki le Hash agmaya pelo hayu kashun kawakankile tawa chanki mike jaylo hayu tashakaki oblecheo dayawa uelo hayu Weyuk japeke oteke gacha tashuka ki chate wash agmaya pelo hey hey.
As the night went on, the excitement of the races, horses, as well as the music and dancers gave people something unlike anything else at the fair. It was an opportunity to celebrate traditional Native culture and participate in keeping it alive. Indian relay racing has become a regular event at numerous tracks across the Dakotas and throughout the United States. Many reservations sponsor tribal festivals and powwows. These powwows encourage intertribal contact, affirm commonalities, and celebrate traditions. The combination of both is a way for non-natives to learn about the different Indian cultures. Indian relay racing is an exciting sport. It is something the kids want to do, so we found a way to do it, added Brewer. Horses have always been a part of my life. They are medicine. When you're having a rough day, just go spend some time with the horse, and it gets better.
I had the opportunity to witness something magical this summer, and I hope you did too. Dakota Cowboy will be right back, and we are brought to you by Dakota Community Bank and Trust.
Since the beginning of time, people have gathered around a glowing fire to tell their stories. Keep these fires burning with a Yodel wood or gas-burning stove. Stop in today, Keller Hearth & Home and Yodel Stove on the Strip Mandan and North Dickinson, where every day is a home show.
Now you can have the personalized forecast at your fingertips when you need it. Beck's exclusive Weather Insight is information tailored to you. Radar, weather alerts, forecasts, and videos. Download the free Weather on Beck News app. Search your app store now.
Base Fluke Trailers of Dickinson is a family-owned dealer with expert staff that know their products front to back. We stock over 150 units of all types and can custom order a trailer with the unique features and capabilities you require for brands you can trust. Our experienced service team is the reason we're also the best place to have your trailer customized or repaired. Count on Base Fluke Trailers of Dickinson to keep you hauling.
Hello and welcome to the MHA Interpretive Center. It's the perfect stop along the Lewis and Clark Trail and the cultural hub of the Mandan, Hidatsa, and Arikara Nation. Nestled along the shores of Lake Sagagawea in Newtown, North Dakota, 1 mile west of the Four Bears Casino. You can enjoy amphitheater performances, art exhibitions, and educational workshops utilizing our Living Cultural Center. Enjoy some coffee, browse our gift shop, and learn about the original people of this land. Learn more at mhanation.com/interpretive center.
We're the ladies of Another View. Join us at 9 a.m. weekday mornings.
We'll discuss issues you care about from local and national perspectives.
You'll hear unique stories from fellow North Dakotans, plus topics in the national spotlight.
Start your day off right with Ladies of Another View.
Weekdays at 9 a.m. on Beck TV and online at beck.news.
Thank you for voting Beck TV the best local television station for the third consecutive year in the Bismarck Tribune's Best of the Best contest. We appreciate your continued loyalty and viewership.
Since the beginning of time, people have gathered around a glowing fire to tell their stories. Keep these fires burning with a Yodel wood or gas-burning stove. Stop in today, Keller Hearth and Home and Yodel Stove on the Strip Mandan and North Dickinson, where every day is a home show.
For more than 70 years, farmers and ranchers have relied on Dickinson Ready Mix for all their concrete needs. Whether it's a shop building for machinery storage or paved feedlots for your livestock, grain bins for on-site grain storage, or precast pads for automatic cattle waterers, Dickinson Ready Mix has been there to provide quality concrete for all your agricultural structures and infrastructure. For your next project, call Dickinson Ready Mix to discuss the benefits that concrete can add to your operation.
Hey, we're looking for ideas for our next commercial. Thoughts?
We have a fully stocked lot. Cars, trucks, SUVs.
Clearly.
We strive for honesty, transparency, and a better buying experience.
Of course we do. Guys, think, everybody's busy. Nobody has time to spend hours shopping for a car. Has to be simple, easy.
Sales, service, simplified.
Perfect. Torgerson Auto Center, East Bismarck Expressway. Sales, service, simplified.
Well, thanks a bunch for hanging in there with us here on this episode of Dakota Cowboy, presented by Dakota Community Bank and Trust. We appreciate you watching each and every Sunday evening. Please tell a friend about our program, would you? This segment, we feature the North Dakota Cowboy Hall of Fame Hall of Honorees Inductee of the Week. And this segment is brought to you by Torgerson Auto Center on East Bismarck Expressway in Bismarck. And I'd like to express my sincerest gratitude to Torgerson Auto Center for being a part of our TV show each and every week. Keep Torgerson Auto Center in mind when you're looking to purchase your next vehicle. Torgerson Auto Center, East Bismarck Expressway in Bismarck. In an opening line from a November 1954 article in Bar North, which is the North Dakota Stockmen's Association magazine, said this rancher said he wouldn't trade ranching for any other life, and he has gone on to his last roundup. Our honoree of the week was born into a sailor's family in Norway in 1886, but he spent his life on the range with his parents and their neighbors, first in Dakota Territory, later in Montana, and finally back in North Dakota. This week's Dakota Cowboy, North Dakota Cowboy Hall of Fame, Hall of Honoree Inductee of the Week is none other than Thor Naden.
Thor Naden, who said he wouldn't trade ranching for any other life, has gone on to his last roundup. That's the opening line in a November 1954 article in Bar North, the North Dakota Stockmen's Association magazine. Thor was born into a sailor's family in Stavanger, Norway in 1886, but he spent his life on the range with his parents and their neighbors, first in the Dakota Territory, later in Montana, and finally back in North Dakota. At 21, Thor left the family homestead to work for neighbor John McCrory, whose ranch was southeast of Winona in Emmons County. He worked for 3 years for $25 a month, with an extra $5 per month bonus at the end of each year. From 1910 to 1912, he rented cropland from McCrory, and although he had all the small grain seeded by March 1910, there was no rain until fall, and not an acre was harvested. 1911 was just as bad. In 1912, Thor's desire to ranch took him to Canada to find land, and in 1913 to Montana, where he and Bertie Tracy were married at the home of a friend in Livingston. They ranched on Bertie's 160 acres until late 1917 when they moved to Braddock, North Dakota to manage the ranch owned by Olin Johnson. In 1953, Thor noted, "Ranching is not all romance, with a Palomino quarter horse and a silver-studded saddle." Despite challenges, though, posed by the weather and 2 wars and volatile livestock prices, the family persevered. Thor and Bertie bought 3,300 acres from the Johnson estate in 1938, eventually purchased another 1,700 acres, and raised livestock and crops with sons Chris, Ted, Bert, Pete, and Bjorn until retirement in 1946. The ranch was then operated by their sons and is operated by Thor's great-grandson, Theo Naden, today. Thor was active with the North Dakota Stockmen's Association, serving as their president. He was a charter member and director of the North Dakota Farm Bureau. He was involved in the American National Cattlemen's Association, the American Quarter Horse Association. He was a charter member of the National Cowboy Hall of Fame and served on the Advisory Council for Agricultural Research and Education, as well as 4-H. The Nadens reared 8 children on the ranch. They also hosted rodeos on that ranch in the early 1920s. Thor Naden was a lifelong promoter of education and of farming and ranching as a way of life. Accepting the award for pre-1940s ranching, Thor Naden's granddaughter, Connie Sprinsanatic.
Thank you, Miss Ashley. Thanks to all of you for that warm welcome. The Naden family is thrilled to join you in welcoming the 2022 inductees. Thor and Bertie would have loved this effort to preserve and celebrate the ranching way of life. I'm joined by a number of Thor and Bertie's great-grandchildren, great-great-grandchildren, grandchildren, some of whom are wearing items that belong to Thor, and we have the most special guest, Pete Naden, their only remaining child. Pete's here. Dad will turn 95 this summer, and without the documents, the photos he saved, without the stories he was able to tell me, my research would have floundered. Thank you, Dad. Pete has a gift he's making to the Cowboy Hall of Fame. Thor was president of the Stockmans in 1953, and he announced the inauguration of Bar North magazine. Dad has his Volume 1, Number 1. And while it might not be the only one in the state, it is a rare copy. The state library's collection of Bar North begins in 1955. So we'll have the first one here. Dad thinks we should add a little bit of embellishment to the Western legends. He said since Thor was the president when this magazine started, perhaps this was the first issue off the press. What do you think? Whether it's one of a few or one of the only, he'll take it over to the Hall of Fame afterwards and present it to the staff, and everyone then can enjoy it. If you take time to read it, you will recognize many, many names. 105 years after Thor and Bertie left their Montana homestead to rent the Johnson Ranch west of Braddock, 84 years after they purchased the ranch from the estate, the land remains in Naden ownership. Thor's sons, Chris, Ted, Bert, Pete, and Bjorn, or as we knew him, Uncle Tiny, worked on and or owned part of the ranch at some point. Eventually, the second generation owners became Pete and Mary Ellen Naden and Ted and Evelyn Naden. Pete and Ted ranched together until 1968, when Ted and Evelyn moved to her parents' place adjacent to the ranch. Ted and Evelyn's second generation ownership is represented today by their daughter Sheila. Sadly, we lost a third generation owner 3 years ago when my brother Mark died, but he's with us in spirit, and his ranch partner, his wife Tammy, is here as third generation owner. Tammy is joined by their son Theo, the newly elected mayor of Braddock. By a landslide, Theo is now the fourth generation owner of the Naden Ranch, and I know Dad's very proud of that. Thor and Bertie Naden were builders and investors. They were not only stewards of their own land and the ranching operation, they invested time and effort in building up organizations that could guide a person toward excellence. I think that's why Thor took the time to organize and lead one of the first 4-H clubs in Emmons County. He was the leader for 16 years. I think that's why they were founding members of the North Dakota Farm Bureau and why they invested time and effort in so many organizations that were important to ranchers on a local, state, and national level. After their daughters, Mame, Augie, and Susie, were married and gone, after their sons were managing ranching operations, and even after Thor and Bertie built a home in Bismarck and moved into that town, their hearts never left the ranch. In the November 1954 edition of Bar North, you heard that opening line. Thor Naden, who said he wouldn't trade ranching for any other life, has gone on to his last roundup. With faith in himself and his ranch near Braddock, he rode the range when the sun was shining on the green grass, and he stuck it out through drought and depression. Thor and Bertie believed in the future. If they were alive today, they would be cherishing the lessons of the past, but always looking ahead. They would be looking at the future not only of the North Dakota Cowboy Hall of Fame, but the future of all young people. Thor used to tell his children, a crop failure makes a better man of you. I think that was his way of saying, go on kids, make mistakes, just be sure to learn from them. Every retired, every current, every future rancher is proof that Thor and Bertie's vision was right and good. In 1948, Chuck Andrus of the Fargo Forum wrote a profile of the Nadens when Bertie was elected president of the newly formed Women's Division of the North Dakota Farm Bureau. Because it says so well what Thor and Bertie believed, I'll close with a quote from the end of the article. They agree that in the soil lies the prosperity, not only of their own children, but that of other young people in North Dakota. They are sincere advocates of utilization of better farm practices and are believers in the thought that a family, as a team, can work out mutual prosperity and satisfaction in good living. Thank you to the North Dakota Cowboy Hall of Fame for this great honor. Thank you to Thor and Bertie Naden for your legacy of hard work, best practices, lifelong education, and service. May God bless you.
Our Dakota Cowboy, North Dakota Cowboy Hall of Fame Hall of Honoree inductee of the week this week, Thor Naden, who was inducted in the year 2022 in the category of pre-1940s ranching. You can learn about Thor Naden and all the inductees at the North Dakota Cowboy Hall of Fame from our website, northdakotacowboy.org, or better yet, stop by and see us in historic Medora. We're open 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. Tuesday through Sunday. Coming up, we've got this week's Dakota Cowboy Student Rodeo Athlete of the Week. At the North Dakota Cowboy Hall of Fame, we honor the champions of the past and support the champions of the future. And we'll be right back here on Dakota Cowboy, presented by Dakota Community Bank and Trust.
For ideas for our next commercial. Thoughts?
We have a fully stocked lot. Cars, trucks, SUVs.
Clearly.
We strive for honesty, transparency, and a better buying experience.
Of course we do. Guys, think everybody's busy. Nobody has time to spend hours shopping for a car. Has to be simple, easy.
Sales, service, simplified.
Perfect. Torgerson Auto Center, East Bismarck Expressway. Sales, service, simplified.
Unique gifts, an assortment of beautiful jewelry, and much more can be found at Dakota Territory Jewelry and Gifts in Medora. Montana silver necklaces and earrings, Black Hills gold and sterling silver jewelry, many Native American made pieces too, and a selection of art pieces. They carry healthy products made right here in North Dakota, and to satisfy your sweet tooth, fall in love with the best fudge around and the freshest taffy made right in the store. Buy it by the pound in a variety of flavors. Dakota Territory Jewelry and Gifts in historic Medora. Wild Bill here for Stephenson Sellinger Chiropractic of Dickinson. Recently, I tore my meniscus, and after an MRI, doctors gave me 3 options: prescription meds, reoccurring injections, or surgery, which wasn't guaranteed to rid me of the pain. Then someone suggested I try soft wave therapy. Stephenson Sellinger Chiropractic of Dickinson are skilled in this innovative treatment. After a few treatments, my pain went from an 8 down to a 1. See if soft wave therapy is right for you. Contact Stephenson Sellinger Chiropractic today.
Hi, my name is Jeff Gould. I have a story called America's Story. I'm going to be doing it Valley City on October 20th. It's the East Greets West North Dakota Cowboy Hall of Fame fundraiser, and I hope you can make it. It's going to be a great time.
We'll begin at 5 p.m. on October 20th with a social dinner and a lively auction right after Jeff Gould presents America's Story. Tickets available now at NorthDakotaCowboy.org. East Greets West with the North Dakota Cowboy Hall of Fame, October 20th at the Valley City, North Dakota Eagles Club.
Hey y'all, it's Trent on the loose. I'm a 6th generation farmer, husband, patriot, father. And as much as I'd love to just sit here under this shade tree and celebrate my own place on my front porch, truth of the matter is that people don't know who, where, and how is producing their food. So travel the country with Trent on the loose, and we'll find those interesting human interest stories behind the people that bring us the efficient food supply. Trent on the loose.
Hello and welcome to the MHA Interpretive Center. It's the perfect stop along the Lewis and Clark Trail and the cultural hub of the Mandan, Hidatsa, and Arikara Nation. Nestled along the shores of Lake Sagagawea in Newtown, North Dakota, 1 mile west of the Four Bears Casino. You can enjoy amphitheater performances, art exhibitions, and educational workshops utilizing our Living Cultural Center. Enjoy some coffee, browse our gift shop, and learn about the original people of this land. Learn more at mhanation.com/interpretive center.
Securian Financial Advisors of North Dakota is now Lux Wealth Advisors. In our current climate, planning for retirement can be scary. Let the experienced advisors at Lux Wealth Advisors take the worry out of wealth planning. Lux Wealth Advisors can work with anyone, from those looking to invest their first dollar to those transitioning into retirement. Let Lux Wealth Advisors be your guide. Lux Wealth Advisors, new name, same great service.
And welcome back to this week's episode of Dakota Cowboy, presented by Dakota Community Bank and Trust. We appreciate you watching. It is time now for the Dakota Cowboy Student Rodeo Athlete of the Week. Our Dakota Cowboy Student Rodeo Athlete of the Week this week is Riggs Rotenberger, son of Chad and Michelle Rotenberger from Ludlow, South Dakota. Riggs is a senior at Bowman High School and was Student of the Month at Bowman High School this fall. Riggs competes in the North Dakota High School Rodeo Association in tie-down roping, steer wrestling, and team roping. And he does very well in FFA and has won the Creed contest and extemporaneous speaking. Riggs Rotenberger is the NDHSRA Student Vice President and was the Student President in his 8th grade school year. He is most definitely an all-around cowboy. Along with rodeo competition, he is a great high school football player, wrestler, and is a very hard worker at the family ranch. Riggs Rotenberger from Ludlow, South Dakota, our Dakota Cowboy Student Rodeo Athlete of the Week. What a great cowboy, what a great athlete, what a great human being. Riggs Rotenberger, our Dakota Cowboy Student Rodeo Athlete of the Week. Well, that's all the time that we have for this episode of Dakota Cowboy, but we'll be working real hard on our next episode, which will feature an announcement from the Miss Rodeo North Dakota organization, and we are going to have a conversation with Miss Rodeo North Dakota 2005, Tara Hochgraber. That and more coming up on the next episode of Dakota Cowboy here on Beck TV. We're presented by Dakota Community Bank and Trust. I'm Wild Bill, and on behalf of Tisa Peak, thank you so much for watching. We will see you in the future, if not in the pasture. Adios!
We're the Ladies of Another View. Join us at 9 a.m. weekday mornings.
We'll discuss issues you care about from local and national perspectives.
Weekdays at 9 a.m. on Beck TV and online at beck.news.